Happy evening to all.
I am Dr. K. Saktivel.
First of all, I wish to convey my heartfelt thanks to the management, Onetra Mutaimal Institution, for giving us an opportunity to organize a webinar on effective way of writing scholarly article. On behalf of Onetra Mutaimal Institution and Department of Textile and Fashion Designing, I feel elated to welcome all the participants from various institutions. It's my privilege to welcome Dr. R. Selvakumaran, Academic Director, Mutaimal College of Arts and Science. And it's my great pleasure to invite our resource person, Dr. O.L. Sanmugasundaram Sir, Professor in Department of Textile Technology, KSR College of Technology, to present his wonderful knowledge sharing and interaction. Actually, we have received an overwhelming response for this wonderful webinar. Due to technical constraint, we can permit only 250 participants on first come first serve basis, and also we have clearly mentioned in the previous mail communication. We regret for the inconvenience. Thank you for your cooperation. The webinar live session will be recorded and it will be uploaded in YouTube channel. YouTube link will be shared to your registered mail ID. Thank you. Thank you all.
Happy evening to all of you. I am Dr. R. Selvakumaran, Academic Director, Onetra Mutaimal Institutions. I thank the DFD department for having organized this webinar on an important topic, effective way of writing scholarly article, and the resource person, Dr. Shanmugasundaram. Sir, I welcome you, sir, on behalf of our institutions and the college and the department.
Thank you, sir.
As all of you know, the participants, the 4 skills are very, very important in communication: reading, writing, listening, and speaking. So you are going to now will be enriched. You will be enriched the writing skills for writing an article by the resource person. On behalf of Onetra Mutaimal Institutions, I welcome all the participants and the resource person. I congratulate the TFD department for having organized this webinar. Good luck. Happy evening.
Thank you, sir. I request Ms. A. Balaranjani, Assistant Professor, Department of Textile and Fashion Designing, to brief about our resource person, Dr. O.L. Sanmugasundaram, sir.
Good evening to all. Dr. O.L. Sanmugasundaram is a professor in the Department of Textile Technology at K.S. Rangasamy College of Technology, India. He had 18 years of teaching, research and admin experience in an engineering college in India. He completed his diploma in textile processing in the year 1996. He graduated in B.Tech Textile Technology from Bannari Amman Institute of Technology, India. In the year 2000, he aced the GATE examination with 83.21%, All Indian rank 93. In the year 2003, he received his M.Tech degree in Textile Technology in the year 2005 from Alagappa College of Technology, Anna University campus, Chennai, and completed his PhD degree in Medical Textile from Anna University in the year 2011. Under the supervision of Dr. R.V. Mahendra Gowda, he served as Joint Supervisor for 3 PhD scholars under Anna University and Supervisor for 1 PhD scholar under Bharatiyar University, Coimbatore. He disseminated his research result through regular publication in scholarly and peer-reviewed journal published by Elsevier, Springer, Sage, Taylor and Francis, etc. He has authored 52 research papers that were published in impact factor journals. He has to his credit 38 papers presented in international conferences, conducted by leading institutions like New Jersey Institute of Technology, USA, IITD, New Delhi, IITKGP, Kharagpur, IITK, Kanpur, IITM, Madras, IIM, Trichy, NITJ, etc. And 7 other national conferences has contributed 3 books chapter in Elsevier, Springer and River publication. His current research activities focus on healthcare and hygienic textile synthesis of nanoparticles, polymers and its application in wound dressing and tissue engineering. Development of drug-releasing sutures motivated by emerging challenges in the field of medical and sports textile technology. He has 327 citations for his research work and his index is 12 and I-10 index is 15. His research productivity shows him to be an active researcher with multifarious facts to his personality. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
First of all, a warm welcome to all participants for the today's webinar on effective way of writing scholarly article. At the outset, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to the principal and academic director of Muthayamal College of Arts and Science, Rasipuram, and the HOD of Textile and Fashion Designing, Muthayamal College of Arts and Science, Rasipuram, and the organizing secretary of this webinar, Dr. K. Saktivel. I wish to thank our principal and HOD for the opportunity given to me to talk on this particular topic. Now let us move on to the topic, effective way of writing scholarly article. See, publishing a research paper in a peer-reviewed journal is an important activity within the academic community. It allows you to network with other scholars, get your name and work in circulation and further refine your ideas and research. See, as a scientist or an academician or a research scholar, technical writing skills are vital at any career stage, and polishing those skills will heighten the level of your work. Introduction about myself. So I did my schooling in Diamond Jubilee Higher Secondary School at Gopichetipalayam, then BTech at Bannariamman Institute of Technology. I have got a good score in the GATE examination conducted by IIT Madras in the year 2003. All India rank 91. So with this GATE score, I got MTech admission at Anna University, Chennai. Then after completion of MTech, I have been working in KS Rangasamy College of Technology, Tiruchengodu. In the meantime, I have completed my PhD degree under Anna University under the able guidance of Dr. R.V. Mahendra Gowda. I have actually I have guided 3 PhD scholars under Anna University, Chennai, and one.
Sir, excuse me, sir.
Yes, madam.
Participant, please, all of you
Then,
mute your video and audio.
Hello.
Participant, please mute your audio and video.
Then my teaching experience is.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, madam. Thank you. So my teaching experience is 18 years of experience, industry experience 1 year. So far I have published 53 research papers in peer-reviewed journals with a total impact factor of 34.21. Then I have been acting as a scientific committee member in 85 international and national conferences. I have been acting as an editorial board member in 10 of the journals. Then I have been acting as a reviewer in journals, totally 12 journals. So far, one book has been published. It is under the forthcoming issue in Woodhead Publishing India. Then I have contributed 3 chapters, one in Elsevier and one in Springer, then one in Elsevier, River Publications. So this is my brief introduction. So these are all the topics I am going to cover in the today's webinar: introduction, then pressure on the journals, format, hypothesis and objectives, then common reasons for rejecting the paper, selecting a journal for publishing process, then how to write the paper, advantages of peer review and disadvantages, how to write the title of the paper, introduction, abstract, materials and methods section, results and discussion part, conclusion, reference section, acknowledgements, then impact factor and their limitations. So before getting to the next slide, I would like to ask one question. Why the researchers or an academician or a scientist try to publish their findings in a journal? Any idea? Any one participants, please? Why you are trying to publish your research findings or a novel idea in a journal?
Research is for sharing ideas.
Yes, sir. Okay.
It's a
Okay,
kind of
thank you.
hello.
Yes, madam.
Good evening, sir. It's a kind of authentication to the work which we are doing.
Okay, thank you, madam. Thank you. Okay, now let us move on to the agenda. So the main purpose here, the scientists, research scholars and faculty members are try to publish their research findings in journals. Either it may be an international journal or national journal. The aim is, the first one is job prospects. In order to get promotion from various levels in the academic, so you have to publish, because UGC, AICTE, they have framed guidelines. In order to get promotion, minimum certain number of papers have to be published. Then in order to pursue postdoc in any of the foreign universities, definitely you should have 1 or 2 papers prior to the application of postdoc position. Then coming to the grant, if you want to succeed in the grant proposal, definitely you should have 1 or 2 papers in the relevant field which you have proposed for the funding. The third one is contribution to the field, as rightly said madam and as well as the faculty member. Then coming to the next point, reputation of university, colleges and research institutions. Yes, 3 days before also, actually you might be noted that QS, World University Ranking has been announced. So in that university ranking, our actually India, 3 institutions has occupied in the top 100 position and 21 institutions occupied in the top 1000 positions. So what they have mentioned is, our Indian institutions are very strong in research background, but they are not in strong in other backgrounds. Actually, they are assessing based on the 6 criteria. Okay, the 6 criteria are academic reputations, employer reputation, faculty student ratio, citation per faculty, international faculty ratio, then international student ratio. So our 3 institutions, one is IIT Bombay, then IISc Bangalore and IIT Delhi, occupied top 100 positions. So what they have mentioned, why our Indian institutions are, in which area our Indian institutions are failing, that is in the employer reputation and faculty student ratio and international student ratio. But we are very strong in research, they have mentioned. Then coming to the next point, researchers need to know the information on new technologies. Suppose if you find a new idea on the research, if you publish it in a journal, then it will be useful for the other researcher to study further or to extend their work. But what the researchers are facing? The researchers are facing difficulty in publishing papers. I would say inexperience in writing papers. Actually, writing paper is an art. So coming to the main topic, pressure on the journals. If you look at what are all the pressures the journals are facing nowadays, the first pressure is, see, paper submission is increasing each and every year to a particular journal. So this is one pressure. Then second topic is journal subscription. Even universities, colleges or research institutions, they are not subscribing the minimum prescribed journals as per the UGC norms or as per the AICTE norms. Then the third point is too many journals are coming into the picture. Even predatory journals are playing a major role. So to counter this pressure, what the editors are doing, they are maintaining high rejection rate, that is, they are maintaining 70% rejection rate. So what they are expecting high quality papers from the research scholars as well as the scientists or from the academicians. Similarly, they are restricting page numbers and they are also charging per page. So what it indicates, as a result, it becomes increasingly difficult to get papers published in refereed journals. So what the researchers have to do, the researchers have to write the papers properly. Then coming to the next item, format. So the authors must follow the journal guidelines, which provide advice on how to prepare your paper for submission. Authors should prepare their submission according to the specifications set out in the author guidelines of their chosen journal. See, some journals, they may use APA style format. Few journals, they may follow AMA style format. So depending upon the journals, you have to follow. See, sometimes the authors or the research scholars, they may not be able to understand the guidelines. So in such situation, what the authors have to do, they have to write a mail to the editor and they have to get clarified the doubts. Then coming to the editor, see, if you are not following the guidelines, what will happen? The editor will return the unreviewed manuscripts if you not followed the guidelines. But the most editors have sympathy with non-English speaking authors. Yes, but the time and publishing pressure does not allow even a sympathy. So please be sure to read your chosen journal guidelines, as each journal will have its own specification requirements. Please direct queries on the submission process to the journal editor office. Before you submit your manuscript, go back and review your title, keywords and abstract, because these elements are playing a very major role and ensuring that readers will be able to find your article online through online research search engines such as Google. So next point is hypothesis and objectives. See, many papers fail to address specifically what is being being addressed. Even if you look at some papers, by reading the abstract, you may not find what they try to convey. So you should not create such situation for the readers or as well as for the reviewers. So hypothesis, how you should write the hypothesis? The hypothesis provides an outline of the thesis written. It exhibits the subject matter without any complication. Hence, the same must be simple, informative, and very much inclined to the core subject. This enables the readers to evaluate the intention of the writer through the respective papers. Hello. So a hypothesis is nothing but a statement that can be tested by scientific research. If you want to test a relationship between two or more factors, then you need to write a hypothesis before you start doing your experiment. The next item is objective. So objective is also very much important. By stating your objective, you are telling the readers exactly what you are hoping to demonstrate and exactly what they can hope to learn or be convinced of. If you write it well and give it pride of place in your introduction, then it should give strong support to the rest of your paper. So in a nutshell, I would say the hypothesis and the objective should be clear, brief, and interesting. Then prove that you are going to prove something in the hypothesis and objectives. So your statement should be in such a way. Then coming to the next item, common reasons for rejecting papers. Please, all the participants, please look into the slides. These are all very much important. The first and foremost reason is lack of originality, novelty, and significance. So you have to take care while writing your manuscript. Then experimental part has obviously been conducted without scientific knowledge of published work. This is also one reason for rejecting your paper. Then mismatch with the journal. I will discuss about this point in detail in the forthcoming slides. Then absence of references. You have to cite both the current references as well as the old literature in your manuscript. But if you look into the main item, rejection is the norm in academic publishing. Even researchers at the top of their field have experienced the rejection. Even Nobel laureates also, their paper also get rejected because they may not address the originality or the novelty or the significance in their paper. Definitely the editor will reject their papers, whoever it may be. If they fail to address these things, definitely their paper will get rejected. Then if the work is not new or novel enough also, your paper will definitely get rejected. So difficult to find new things to do. Yes, I do agree, because more amount of research work is being done internationally than what a researcher or an academician have to do. So you have to develop new approaches to your older problem. This is the only best practice an academician or a researcher have to do. Then coming to the other points, selecting a journal for publication. This is also a very big headache for the researchers as well as the academicians. How to select a journal for publication, your manuscript or your research paper. So journals used by main researchers or the authors in your area of research. So you can select a journal in such a way that then some journals are highly recommended for your area of research. This is one way of selecting your journal. Then specific journals may be more prestigious for tenure and promotion. Then coming to the consider your audience also, desired audience. So target audience, it should be internationally. So select an international journal while publishing your paper. Then journal with a narrow focus rather than a multidisciplinary focus. Yes, if you do some research on wound dressing, so specific journals are available in all the reputed publishers like Elsevier or Springer or Sage or Taylor and Francis, like wound dressings or wound medicines or burn wounds. So there are journals are available with specific focus. So you have to select based on your research area. Then impact factor and ranking also you have to consider while selecting the journals, like Eigen factor, ISI journal citation reports, then Simago report, then Scopus and Thomson-Reuters. The other factors also to be considered while selecting a journal, that is indexing status by citation database, whether Google citations or Scopus or Web of Science databases are available in that particular journal. Then journal information such as circulation count, then number of years in publication. See, this you have to look into it, because actually I am attending a few webinars on this particular topic. But what the participants, they are asking, sir, I have published a paper in a particular journal. Now the journal is not available in the UGC CARE list. Then what shall I do? So in this matter, please look into the number of years in publication. At which year the journal has been started, whether in 1976 or in the later stage into 2012. So you have to look into the number of years in publication. The number of articles published per year, this is also one major factor. If the number of issues are very less, then your paper is a little bit difficult to get published in this minimum number of issues, because they will select high quality journals. If your paper is very good in quality, then you can approach these type of journals. Then coming to the length of review process, yes, these factors are also have to be considered, like average length of time from submission to publication, then average length of time for submission to rejection, then how soon an author receives notice about their manuscript has been accepted for publication. So these are all the factors to be considered while uploading your manuscript in a particular journal. These things are readily available in the journal portal. So please look into these matters before uploading it in a particular journal. Then coming to the whether it is a review journal or they are charging publication fees, etc. Then reputation of the publisher also you have to look into this. Whether it is a good reputation. Then does the journal provide free reprints or off prints to the authors? Then does the journal provide unrestricted access to all articles within the set of time frame? Yes, this is also you have to take care. So while selecting a journal, these are all some tools are available. Find journals in elsewhere. So just you have to type your title of the paper and your abstract in the tab which is available in the portal. Then the journal will give you what are all the possible journals you can publish it. The acceptance percentage also which will list it out. So based on the acceptance percentage, you can upload it in that particular journal. Similarly, the Springer is available. Then the journal guide. These are all the tools are available for selecting a particular journal. Then coming to the publishing process. So this I don't want to discuss because it will vary from journal to journal. See, from the slide itself, you will come to know so many authors are trying to publish, but only very few they will succeed in the publication process. Then coming to the writing the paper, how to write. Abstract, it is the most readable one, followed by results and methods. So I would say abstract is the heart of a manuscript. Like how the heart is most important for a particular human being. So that much important for the abstract. So then limit the words between 8,000 to 10,000 in the entire manuscript. The introduction part, it is a least readable one in the manuscript. Then while writing the paper, you have to please take care, you are not writing the paper for a general scientific audience. You are writing the paper for 2 or 3 referees. Okay. Then avoid jargons and acronyms as much as possible. Then using proper English. See, the English should be used throughout the manuscript. Proper English should be used throughout the manuscript. Then proper usage of language in captions such as headings, subheadings, tables, and figures. Then sentence construction should be very short. One idea can be communicated in each sentence. A sentence should not exceed 12 to 15 words. Please keep it in your mind. A sentence should not exceed 12 to 15 words. Then coming to the usage of tense. Present tense may be used for known facts or a universal truth or hypothesis. Past tense may be used for experimental part and results and discussion part. Then usage of voice, that is use active voice to sort sentences. Use passive voice for method section. Then use active phrases in results and discussion section. So in a nutshell, how to write your paper should be concise statements and correct tenses. So you have to follow these things while writing the paper. Then coming to the advantages of peer review process. So even I came to know few researchers, they may not upload their papers in the peer reviewed journal because they are a little bit fearing about the peer review process. So don't get any fear about the peer review process. So the objective of the peer review is removing any personal biases. Then it stops poor science from reaching the public or reaching the publication process. Then it will reject the duplicate research and the plagiarized paper. Yes, plagiarism is also one of the main headache for the researchers as well as academicians and scientists. Even many of the higher officials are also caught under this category. Many of the participants also might be knowing. So plagiarism is very much important while writing your paper or the manuscript. So the editor will remove the poor quality papers or the poor quality work which is addressed in the manuscript. So you have to enjoy the peer review process. At the end of the peer review process, yes, your paper will get good quality as well as it will attract the readers. So that is the reason why the papers are undergoing the peer review process. So it will help them to attract the best researchers and scientists to submit their papers. Peer reviews brings innovative research to their attention. So even though the peer review process has many advantages, it has some disadvantages. So the disadvantages are it causes lengthy delay in dissemination of research findings. Yes, the whole process is a time consuming process and expensive. Yes, it depends upon the reviewer and also the number of reviewers. See, few journals, they will send only one reviewer. The other journals, they may send maximum 7 reviewers or 6 reviewers. So if you want to get the reviewer comments from the 6 reviewer or 7 reviewer, definitely it will take time. Even you have to wait for a period of 1 year or 8 months. Then no grading system about the quality of the peer review process. Yes, I do agree. It is the main disadvantages in the peer review process. Then how effective the peer review process really is in deducting the error or in your paper. See, it depends upon the reviewer. See, the reviewer has to accept the process if the paper is within their specialized area. Suppose if the paper is not within their specialization, the reviewer has to reject or they have to send particular comments to the editor. Sir, I am not in a position to review this particular paper because this paper is not comes under my specialization. If it is not so, then ultimately the reviewer comments may not help for the author for the further review process or further revision. Then no way to know the expertise and the quality of the reviewer or the editor. This is also main disadvantages in the peer review process. So that is the reason why many of the researchers or academicians or the scientists, they may not undergo this type of peer reviewed journals. Then coming to the title of the paper, how to write. So the title should be brief. Then don't claim the things that are not delivered in the paper. Then omit the words such as study, investigations or observations. This is according to my perspective I have written these words in these slides. Then indexing and abstracting services depends upon the accuracy of the title. Yes, so that is the reason why I am mentioning the title of the paper is very much important. Suppose if I Google it, or I will search it in a Scopus Science Direct, or whatever may be the journal. So if your title is matches with the what I am trying to collect the papers from the journals, definitely your paper will come into the picture. So that is the reason why your title should be very accuracy. Then if the study is of a particular species or chemical, then you have to mention in your title. Yes. So why I am telling the title is very important, because the research, the title should be pleasant and it should be readable. The title should be descriptive, direct, accurate, appropriate, interesting, concise, precise, unique. The title should not be misleading. So you have to write the title of the paper in such a way. So the initial aim of the title is to capture the reader attention and to highlight the research problem under investigation. The title summarizes the main idea of your study. A good title should contain the fewest possible words. So you have to limit the words in the title of your paper that adequately describe the contents and the purpose of your research paper. So you have to write the title in such a manner. Then coming to the abstract, I already told you abstract is very, very important, because the reviewer will read initially the abstract. If the abstract is not up to the mark, definitely they may not look into the other part of your manuscript. So how the abstract should be? So the abstract should contain only between 100 and 150 words. Don't repeat the information contained in the title. Then how the abstract should be? The abstract should contain rationally for the work, then principal objectives, scope of the investigation, then some description of what was done, summary of the result, a sentence at the end, major conclusion is useful. So the purpose of an abstract is to convince a fellow scientist to actually read your paper. In today's competitive world, information overloaded scientific environment, so being able to write effective abstract is increasingly critical to your success. So an abstract should tell the audience exactly what to expect by presenting the highlights of the entire paper. An effective abstract is clear, concise, and compelling. So how the abstract should be? It should be like a recipe. Okay. So finally, the abstract should be very much informative. Then coming to the introduction part, it should not be like a review. The common mistake is to introduce authors and their ideas of study in general terms without mentioning of their major findings. This is the major lacking in the introduction part. So the introduction part should contain the objective of the work. It should be clearly written. The introduction part, how you have to write, it should be create some context and background. Tell your reader about the research you plan to carry out. State your rationale. Explain why your research is important and state your hypothesis. So after writing the introduction part, you have to ask yourself the following questions and answers. So what am I studying? Why is this topic important to investigate? What do we already know about this topic? Or others experts discovered about the topic? How will my research advance new knowledge or new ways of understanding? So these are all the questions to be asked yourself, and you have to answer for these questions after writing the introduction part. Then coming to the materials and methods, the tests for this section, it is very much important someone could repeat your experiment. So suppose if you did some methods and you are writing results and discussion, if somebody else in the globe, if they want to repeat your experiment, they have to get exactly or more or less similar data after doing the similar experiments, because the replication is very, very important. The most important information required in this section is you have to follow the design of experiments and statistical tools to be used while analyzing the results and discussion part, then indication of replication and the sampling numbers and the variation in data. These are all the things to be included in your materials and methods part. Sometimes experimental design does not allow certain statistics to be used. Please consult statistician while start doing any experimental design or while doing any statistical tools while analyzing your results. So the materials and methods section describe in detail all the materials that have been used to conduct a study as well as the procedures that are undertaken. A research writing should be orderly and organized. Therefore, the material in each of its subsection should be presented in a logical manner. It is generally recommended that the material and method should be written in the past tense, either in active or passive voice. In this section, ethical approval or the study data or the number of subjects, groups, evaluation criteria, exclusion criteria, and statistical methods should be described sequentially. So before you finish your manuscript, ask yourself the following questions about the materials and methods section to ensure you have included all important information. So what are all the questions? Is there any sufficient detail so that the experiment can be reproduced? Is there excess information that could be removed without affecting the interpretation of the results? Or all the appropriate controls are mentioned? All appropriate citations are included in the materials and methods section? Is the source of each reagents are listed in the materials section? Then coming to the results part, keep this section focused and concise. The tables and figure caption should be standalone. So the headings should be framed in such a way. So tables and figures, it should be readable, and figures will be reduced as per the journal format. Then results should be short and sweet. Why the result section is very much important? Because the result section should include the findings of your study. The findings of your study, the finding includes the data presented in the table, charts, graphs, and other figures. May be placed among the research texts or in a separate page. A contextual analysis of this data explaining its meaning is in sentence form. Then coming to the discussion part, it is also very much important. It should not be a repeat of the result. Then it should not be like a literature review. Then speculation is heavily penalized by referees and editors. So don't do this speculation in this discussion part. It should be clearly written and draw conclusion from the result. So discuss what principles have been established, how your findings can be comparable with the other authors. Then discuss the significance of the work. So the discussion chapter is where you delve into the meaning, importance and relevance of your results. It should focus on explaining and evaluating what you have found and showing how it relates to your literature review and research questions, and making an argument in support of your overall conclusion. So in a nutshell, how the discussion part should be, it should be interpret and explain your results, answer your research questions, justify your approach, and critically evaluate your study. Then coming to the conclusion part. So to write a conclusion for your research paper, start by restating your thesis statement to remind your readers what your main topic is and bring everything full circle. Then briefly summarize all of your main points you made throughout your paper, which will help remind your readers for everything they learned. So how the conclusion part should be? State your conclusion is clear and in a simple language. Don't simply re-rate your results or the discussion. Indicate the opportunity for the further research as long as you have not already done in the discussion section of your paper. Then coming to the future work, yes, you have to list the future work after the conclusion part. This is very much important. Then only the other scientists, they can further proceed on your particular area. Then coming to the reference part, acknowledge the source of information. If there is more than 2 authors, you use surnames, or if there is more than 2 authors, then you have to use et al. These are all the things already it has been mentioned in the journal guidelines itself. So you have to follow the journal guidelines while writing your references. But nowadays, many reference management tools are available like Mendeley or EndNote. Other management reference tools are available. So better use those management tools because it is a very time consuming process while writing the reference part in a manuscript. Then coming to the acknowledgement, yes, you will have people with hurt feelings. So don't left the people with hurt feelings. Please acknowledge all the peoples, those who have directly or indirectly helped during the research work as well as while writing the manuscript. So the best practice is after writing the manuscript, please give it to your colleagues and ask them to go through and give their comments. So please acknowledge your colleagues also in the acknowledgement part because they have spent little bit time for go through your manuscript and they spend little bit time. So acknowledge people's even non-teachings or the lab assistants, those who have helped directly. So please acknowledge. Then coming to the referees and editors, see if one reviewer is recommending, the other reviewer is rejecting, what is the final conclusion? Your paper is definitely get rejected. Even if a particular reviewer is writing a negative comment on your manuscript or your paper, the final end conclusion is your paper may get rejected. Sometimes be prepared to argue some points with the editor. So that is my request to the participants. Even you can ready to argue with the reviewer as well as with the editor with some points. If the reviewer comments or the editor comments are not up to the mark, you can ready to argue. So the editor will accept the reasonable arguments. Yes. Then coming to the next point, I would like to slide through on the plagiarism. So plagiarism is writing a research paper poses challenges in gathering literature and providing evidences for making your paper stronger. Plagiarism is unethical practice of using words or ideas of another author or researcher of your own previous work without proper acknowledgement, that is without proper citation. Is plagiarism a crime? Yes. Plagiarism is not in itself a crime, but a constitute copyright infringement. In academia and industry, it is a serious ethical offense. Yes, it is a serious ethical offense. If you plagiarized, what is the punishment? Yes, most cases of plagiarism is considered misdemeanors and punishable by fines of rupees between $100 even up to $50,000, even maximum to an extent of 1 year in jail. So that is the punishment. So plagiarism can also be considered a felony under certain states and federal laws. See, please look at this slide. This is already given by the UGC. If found plagiarized in between 10% and 40%, what is the conclusion? Submit a revised research paper within 6 months. If plagiarism is between 40 to 60%, the students will be deprived of submitting the revised paper for a duration of 1 year. They will prevent. If the plagiarism is found in your manuscript or in your paper between 40 to 60%, so definitely the editor will stop the particular author for a period of 1 year. The student's registration sometimes will be cancelled if found plagiarized beyond 60%. Yes, this is also very headache. If your paper is having more than 60%, sometimes your PhD or whatever it may be, what you are doing, your registration may get cancelled. Impact factor, yes, how they are calculating. So these are all the things I have mentioned, because nowadays impact factor is playing a major role. So I have published with the highest impact factor of 5.08 in a material science engineering C. It comes under Elsevier journal. That is the one paper I have published with a very high impact factor, that is 5.08, that too in Elsevier journal. Then coming to the merits, yes, impact factor has its own merits because it provides quantitative tools for ranking, evaluating and categorizing and comparing journals. It is a quantitative evidence for editors and publishers for positioning their journals in relation to the competition. Then recent use of impact is in the process of academic evaluation. I already told you, if you publish your paper in a high impact factor journal, you will get good credits during your promotion, during your increment, or whatever may be in your academic evaluation process. Then coming to the impact factor limitations, yes, it has its own limitations. Impact factor is based on the number of articles published in a particular year and the number of issues per year. These are all the factors in which will influence the impact factor of the journal. See, review papers are getting more cited, yes, because more and more knowledge you can gain from in a review paper rather than in a particular research paper, because review paper is addressing or they are collecting 50 papers or 60 papers content in a particular article. Definitely that article has been cited in a more number of citations rather than a particular journal. Self-citation, yes, it will increase the impact factor. So these are all the...
Actually, I have one doubt. That
Yes,
is, if I'm going to publish a paper in a Scopus Index journal, that is, if I have published an article in 2016,
yes, sir.
during that time, the journal has been indexed in Scopus.
Okay.
But if it is going to be discontinued in 2020, so does it affect my paper's value or something else like that?
Yes, sir, definitely, because see, if you are applying for a government position,
Yes,
so either IIT or NIT or any of the government organization, what
Okay.
they will ask, how many papers you have published in Scopus Index or Web of Science. So in that situation, you may not claim my paper has been the journal has been in Scopus in the year 2016. Now it has been removed. So my kind advice is that is the reason why I have mentioned, while selecting a journal, you have to look into so many matters. At what year the publication, the year of publication has been started in the year 2012, and the reputation of the publisher. So you have to look into those things before uploading your paper in a particular journal, because Now, see, after 2021, your paper, you may not claim that I have been published in a Scopus indexed journal.
Yes, sir.
So that is the reason why please think twice or thrice. You have to look all this matter before uploading your paper in the journal.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
So next from Kabir Ushman.
Yes, madam.
Can we publish our research paper in different section, that is in different topics in different journals?
No, actually what, so he want to publish the same work in a different journal. I think, madam?
Yes, sir.
No, it is not at all ethical, because if one work has to be published in a only one journal, if the same idea or the same work should not be published in some other journals, if the editor or if the authors, other researchers came to know that, then it will be a ethical issue. Then you will face so many consequences. So publish your work in a particular journal. Don't publish in too many journals. If too many ideas, yes, you can publish one idea in one journal, the other ideas in other journals. That is not at all worrying process. One idea cannot be published in too many journals. Then finally, you will face so many ethical issues in future. Yes, madam. Next question, madam. Hello.
Hello, sir.
Next question, madam.
From Gopala Satish Kumar. Some of
Yes,
the
madam.
journals not undergoes the peer review and publish the paper with cost. And also it is under scope. It is good journal for publish my paper, sir.
See, according to my perspective, see, there are some journals are available even in a highly reputed publisher. But without peer review process, they may not publish any sort of work, even though they are charging per page. That is a little bit costly. But even though they are charging, the manuscript has to undergo the peer review process. So after the peer review process, they will be charging per page. So what is the advantage means? Your paper is in open access. So if your paper is in open access, many researchers can download without any subscription or without paying any sort of payment for downloading your article. So that is the main advantage if you publish your work in an open access journal under the peer review process. Don't publish it without under peer review process, because at any even after 10 years or after 15 years, if any one researcher have found a mistake or a misconduct in your experiment, then it is very difficult to come out from those things. So it is better to go in a peer review process. Okay, next, madam.
Thank you, sir. From Tarania. Why, sir, the little ignore a study of like this, but why, sir?
Pardon, madam?
Why, sir, the little ignore a study of like this, why, sir?
Oh, you should not
Yes.
mention you should not mention the word study, because study means actually it is like a theoretical part. If you do some research, you should not use the word study. But if you come across in many of the papers, they may use study. But according to my perspective, you should not use the word study, because study means it is only a theoretical aspects. See, there are so many words you can coin while framing your title. You can use compare or investigations or develop or design or application. See, based on your research work, you can coin so many words are available. See, according to my perspective, don't use the word study. Okay, madam. Next.
Okay, sir. Thanks, sir. So next question from Syed Kader. H index, kindly
Yes,
enlighten on this.
Yes, madam.
Kindly enlighten on this. H index.
Enlighten. Oh, H index.
H index.
Okay, H index is nothing but it is an author level matrix. Suppose it is, if I am having H index of 10 means the H number of times, H number of papers cited H times. Suppose I have published 25 papers, but my H index is 10 means what it indicates, my 10 paper has been cited 10 times. So that indicates the H index. Yes, madam. Next.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, madam.
I'm glad to invite Mr. C. Yuneshwaran, Head of the Department, Textile and Fashion Designing, to deliver his vote of thanks.
Madam, just a minute, madam. So I request the participants, if you have any queries while writing your manuscripts or while preparing your paper, please contact, don't hesitate to contact. My contact addresses are in the now in slideshow. So please make a note of it. Please contact for any purpose while writing your manuscript or any doubts. Okay, thank you, madam. Please over to the MOC.
A very happy evening to everyone. First of all, I would like to thank our management for encouraging and let us to conduct this webinar. Then I like to thank our academic director, Dr. R. Selvakumaran, for his valuable support. Thank you, sir. I would like to thank Dr. K. Shaktivel, Organizing Secretary, for this wonderful live webinar session, and also our ICT team of our college for hosting this webinar. Thank you, sir. On behalf of our Vanetra Muthayamal Institution and our department, I would like to convey my heartfelt thanks to resource person Dr. O.L. Sanmugasundaram, sir, who delivered excellent lecture through his presentation. Surely his lecture will useful for participants to improve their knowledge in scholarly article writing. Thank you so much, sir, for your excellent presentation. Thank you very much, sir. And
thank you for that.
And also convey our thanks to fruitful, delightful academic participants from various institutions. Thank you all. Once again, thank you one and all. Thank you.
Thank you very much.